Welcome, Maria. I'm honored to have you sharing your experience with Sober Curiosity. I'm really happy you're here as we're starting to get our feet on the ground. It's great that you're local. We haven't connected in a while. Might see each other on Facebook and like each other's posts, but we came together as a result of my post about sobriety. I'm excited that you're here because now we've got this shared space. I'll give our listeners a little introduction to you. Maria is an enthusiastic, community minded person, always working with economic development and Salmon Arm. You started to get imprint on our community, promoting different things and chatting, like always talking to everybody. So I think that it's such a natural progression now that you are on this journey here. We'll talk a little bit more about Highland Meadows as we go through this. I would like to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. Your journey is unique, heartfelt tragedy. In that, I want you to speak to that because you arriving here, being 3 years sober and identifying as sober curious, introduce yourself and talk about how you arrived here and what that means to you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Brandy, and thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here, and congratulations on your new show. It's really
Thank
exciting.
you.
Yeah, I was so
Thank
excited to
you.
hear
I
about
know.
this. It's a pleasure to be here. My sober curious journey, like many, grew up in our culture of drinking. I was never a big drinker, just a social drinker. It was part of my life until 3 years ago when we had three young men come and stay on our property. They were looking for places to stay. They had recently come out of a treatment program. I didn't know they were connected through the same program. They arrived here being a spiritual person, raised a Christian. I prayed about who was supposed to come here and asked God to bring the right people. And he did. It doesn't always look like how you envisioned, but the right people did come. We became friends. When I heard they were fresh out of treatment centers, I said to my partner, Thomas, we should not drink. I think we need to not drink at all. And we are the kind of people that just had a couple coolers on the weekend if people were over. But I thought, you know what? I think to support these guys, wouldn't it be great to just not drink at all? I didn't think I'd have a problem with that. So we did. We completely gave up alcohol. It's been 3 years ago. And it was just amazing. It started changing our lives. We never had any off days. We always felt great. It was something we embraced quickly. I noticed the difference in how I felt on a spiritual, emotional, physical level, the change it made in my life. And Thomas, the same thing.
You were a very vibrant, open, energetic person to
Yeah.
start with. So you clear that slate and you're unstoppable.
I'm sure we'll talk about that later, the changes it's made in my life on that personal level. But the surface level, it was just immediate almost, just not drinking, the difference it made. We became friends with these guys and we'd have bonfires in our backyard and spend time together. One of them was really helping me in the garden a lot. And this was around the time I decided through COVID, really, is how this happened. I've always been someone who enjoys bringing people and connecting people and having gatherings, super social person. Through COVID, people were so alone and disconnected. I thought, what can I do to make this situation better? I can build an event space on my property. It's an outdoor space, only seasonal. We got to do more to bring people together. We've had 4 years of disconnect and talked about it in 2021 and started in spring of 2022 when the three guys came here. I had support and help from the guys. They were helping me build the event space, doing excavating work.
Fresh out of treatment, fully recovering from addiction.
Right.
It's a beautiful space where you've actually now decided to let go of alcohol. Now this shared vision, this shared project gives purpose, replacing their addictions may have been with such a beautiful purpose. That's actually really magnificent.
I think so too. And the support was a safe space for them. I was really happy to do that. They made such an impact on our lives. I cannot stress enough. I was helping them, but they were really helping me. It was a mutual relationship. During the summer of 2022, as we started building this space, I wonder if I could do an alcohol-free event venue. It made me so nervous. Is anyone going to come? Are people going to laugh at me? How is this going to be perceived in the community? Are people going to think I'm against people that drink, which is not the case? I wrestled of 2022 with that decision. In late fall, one of the guys staying here, he ended up falling back into his addiction. He lost his job and he had a friend die and he started using again. And he ended up passing away Christmas of 2022. And it was very traumatizing.
Was he still living with you?
Yes, very stressful. I believe it was an accident, but when you're using, it just takes one time. So,
And the two others that were there,
yeah,
they
they were here.
maintained their sobriety as this was happening?
They did. We lost one of our guys. And when he died, I said, that's it. This space is going to be a sober space. The decision was made when we lost Alex. I didn't have to struggle with that anymore. His death is not going to go in vain. I'm going to use this tragedy to do good in my sphere of influence. That's how that happened. We've been working on it and we opened up last year and we are open from end of June to end of October. We provide a space, a safe space for all sorts of gatherings, retreats. Somebody wants to have a wedding here. We haven't done that yet, but we've had homeschool groups, Bible study groups, and all sorts of people use the space as a community gathering space. It's been wonderful. And I feel like it's going to grow from here. I'm excited. And I had positive responses when I say it's alcohol free. They're like, oh, wow. And it gets the conversation going. If somebody's never thought about changing their drinking habits, or if they're saying, hey, yeah, actually, I quit drinking 6 months ago, but I have nowhere to go. I'd love to come to one of your gatherings. It's just opening that up, that there's a place for people to go.
That's starting to pop up in all the major centers, alcohol-free gin bars. It took this tragedy of his passing to give you the definitive answer. The biggest tribute you could pay to him and the other two gentlemen still on their sober journey. That was actually something that crossed my mind when I'd first heard about this, was he part of this growing and giving him that purpose? Like you said, his death wasn't in vain.
No.
And that now, as people gather there in a clear mind and a clear heart without alcohol in their body, every person that steps onto your property is honoring him because he gave you that answer. That is your definitive space. Thinking, will people laugh at you? Will people think it's silly?
Yeah.
This just goes to show how endemic it is in our culture that alcohol is presumed at every gathering. When I was with Jasmine's dad in Algeria, and they don't drink there. In Islam, there's a saying that alcohol is the boss of all problems. Even when I still drank, I agreed with that. So when I would tell people about being at this party, they're like, how do they party without alcohol? Isn't that telling that people can't even conceive of that? That was 11 years ago, 12 years ago. But now look at where we are. Your quest has been welcomed with open arms, creating change in our community. That's progress. Stepping away from that lie we've been told about alcohol.
Our whole life, part of my gratitude towards these three guys, I had never really questioned that when you go to someone's house, you bring a bottle of wine, you bring a 6-pack of coolers, that, you know, if people are coming over, very important, we'll run to the corner store, make sure we've got alcohol. I never really questioned it until we decided to support these guys. Every sporting event, gathering, a new birth, a baby shower, a wedding, everything involves alcohol, literally every social gathering. And we have just been brought up this way our whole lives. I never questioned it. It's changed my perspective on many things, and I'm grateful.
From my perspective, I've done so much reflection over the last 4 years about it. For the first 3 years, it's only in the last 6 months that I've been starting to really weigh into it. I'm building a program around sobriety with breath work. I was scared of losing the core fabric of my relationships. I have lost friendships, depth of connection, because I'm not there to drink wine. I would quit for competitions, quit drinking for a few months because I had to. It wasn't really
that's
that
the mindset.
how crazy that doing exercise science and coaching, I was still so ingrained in the general flow of life that I didn't inquire deeper into why I felt anxious and depressed after drinking. I just thought calories, alcohol converts to sugar. This is why you can't. Not really like, you're an athlete, you should know this science, but I didn't question it even while not drinking.
I worked at a chiropractic office for 15 years as an office manager in Kelowna. And we would have every kind of health seminar put on, and I knew
With
all
the
of these
wine?
things too, but we would still go out and have dinners, drinks, and wine on weekends with girlfriends. It's part of our culture.
So even before I quit drinking, Erin runs the wine and cheese event. It was a weekend and I bought a ticket. She's like, you have to drink. I'm like, no, I said I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
She's like, you bought tickets for wine and cheese. I'm like, then I'll eat lots of cheese. Once I'd made that decision, I knew I was done. I'd not drank before the men came to stay and become part of your community. Had you seen other people give up drinking? You said you hadn't thought about it because you didn't have an issue with it, which is great because you don't have to recover from addiction. But did
Yes.
you see other people with addiction issues giving up alcohol before you gave up?
I feel there's been this whole movement in the last few years. Maybe it's because I'm not doing it. So people are coming
And
into
you're
my sphere.
magnetizing that.
My cousin, he was an alcoholic his whole life. He's been sober 11 years now. He was given the choice, give up alcohol or die. His mother died from alcoholism. I do have alcoholism in my family. My immediate family has never drank. My mom, my brother, my sister, they've just never drank. It's never been, they've just never drank. And I think my mom, she said my grandparents drinking and fighting all the time, said she was just never going to go near alcohol. So it has affected my family, absolutely. So I did grow up not having my family drinking. I'm a social person, out every weekend, going to events and doing things. It was a part of my life, over drinking when I was young. Absolutely. I didn't think it was a problem, but not drinking these past 3 years, and I think about things and I reflect back, I really overdrank when I was young.
I don't go to events or any programs. I heard Drew Barrymore say, I don't work a program, but I love that. When I heard that a couple years ago, I'm like, that's where I am. I had a lot of guilt about quitting and never craving a drink again. I knew I didn't want to feel that way. I'm quite spiritual with breath work, and every day I'm reflecting. I've been apologizing to people about things I did. When we were young, my parents took us to Mexico. We snuck out of the hotel and went over to the other side to go to this bar. And my
Yeah.
parents were out on the beach looking for us at 3 in the morning, and my younger sister and I. So I was 17, so she was
Oh,
16, and we
yeah.
were out free in Mexico
Yeah.
wandering. What danger is that? And
Exactly.
so we were at a tournament. So mom and dad get there because they got to the rink a little after us, and I'm in tears. And I'm like, I'm so sorry about
Yeah.
that time in Mexico. And it's like 1991, and
Yeah.
I'm apologizing. So I look at it like the whole AA program where they talk about apologizing. It's happening for me. It
That's
never crossed my mind. I don't really know what the AA model is. I know there's 12 steps, and one is apologizing. When your spirit is ready to forgive yourself for your behavior when you were younger, dosing your body in this toxin wasn't the best representation. Your version of you now can go, wow, okay, Brandy, that warrants a few words of apology, right?
yes.
And I'm sure there's more of those epiphanies to come. I think my drinking was problematic. Whoever I'm around, let's go. If the
Yeah.
vibe is party, let's drink
Yeah.
as much, then I would do the same. You spoke about COVID, and
Right.
as a gym owner, being closed, where I did small classes and one-on-one. I had to close my business. I'm lucky I could still go back and I had the key because that kept me together. I was drinking quite a bit over COVID. Ozzy and I, great memories of putting up wallpaper and time together, but I was drinking a lot. If I wasn't able to train, I think about all those people that lived in an apartment building and weren't allowed to leave, or they couldn't go to the gym, but they can go to the liquor store.
That's
That
right.
really shows what's important financially for our government. They would rather keep everybody addicted to this substance they're getting tax dollars from. So I think, yeah, looking back, that piece about COVID was a turning point for a lot of people, recognizing when you do have all this free time, you're going to fill it with just drinking a 1.5 liter of wine.
You weren't allowed to go to the gym, and you weren't allowed to go to restaurants, and you weren't allowed to go out. In Australia, they weren't even allowed to go anywhere. They weren't allowed to leave their homes unless they're going to the grocery store. It was,
Spain,
yeah,
Spain was like that. They
well,
had
there you
drones
go.
because Jasmine's dad was lives in Spain,
Right.
and I saw drones down
Yeah.
the street and people out. I think some administrations are actually coming back and saying, I know Boris Johnson had said that because he was a mayor of London, he publicly stated they made a mistake with shutdowns. They said the scope of mental health
Yeah.
problems and alcohol in society compounded each other.
I was looking up the societal costs of alcohol use, really,
Oh,
Canada. It was $20 billion of societal costs encompassing healthcare, incarceration, criminal justice, drunk driving,
and
measurable
those are
costs,
measurable.
economic loss, reduced productivity, people calling in sick, not functioning at their optimum potential, huge economic issues from alcohol use. The stats were that they brought in $13.5 million in tax dollars. This is so 20 billion in
Versus
costs versus 13.5 billion in tax dollars. So they call it an alcohol deficit. So our last calculated alcohol deficit in Canada was 6.5 billion. They're bringing in 13.5, but the costs are 20 billion. So we're in an alcohol deficit. They know these stats. They've calculated these stats. You could probably double those with statistics that aren't calculated, mental health, relationships.
because
That's
you look at lost like productivity.
yeah,
There was one out of the UK, and I think it was 53 million. But that's actually, then you have to also realize that those numbers are from like government. That's not like small business. When someone calls in sick, they're not saying this person called in sick because they're
that's right.
hungover. So those
Yeah,
are all very, you can't, it's not even tangible to figure
yeah,
that out.
I
So from
agree.
that perspective, when they look at something from a financial standpoint, it's what they've got data on. Even if you think, imagine if the whole world went alcohol free for a year. This
Imagine.
was
Yeah.
early in my not drinking. Accidents, domestic violence, mental health,
Yep. All of
financial
that.
stability when they're not spending hundreds of dollars a month on alcohol. When people go, oh, that
Mm,
could never happen. It can't if the majority don't think it could. I feel it's when we look at the cost of it, it can come the same with health and fitness, right? If you think
mhm.
about when people don't want to spend, I've got a small studio that
Yeah.
stayed small. The validation of spending on fitness for a lot of people will go before the bottle of wine a day goes. I
Right.
think
Yeah.
the impact on our future as well is so grand when you think about people that aren't looking after their body and they're
Mhm.
choosing to drink over fitness because it gives them that quick dopamine rush, and then they're physiologically declining. It's affecting as their kids grow up. When anybody steps outside of this movement, we are part of a movement. Being in it for the last couple years, seeing the change, even what's available to people, is amazing. And there's
Mhm.
bars opening up. You've got Highland Meadows, all these different things that now when the people that have chosen to step into this are like, let's get creative, let's create in this alcohol-free space. That's powerful.
When I quit drinking, I don't have a need to go get a substitute of a 0%
Yeah.
beer, 0% cooler, wine, or all those things. Thomas does enjoy the 0% beers because he's always enjoyed a beer. So now he just has a zero Corona or Heineken. The amount of non-alcoholic products that are available now, unbelievable. It's just, and that's from spirits to wine to beer to coolers.
Yeah.
They don't want to miss out on this market share because it's growing. They are creating all of these
Yeah.
alternatives. There's choice now. Even restaurants are having non-alcoholic options, which is cool to see.
They're pivoting and recognize this is real. It's got momentum. Even younger generations, I saw a graph, but I think our generation is the last heavy drinking generation in their 20s. A lot of the younger kids, I'm not saying that they're not imbibing or they're not consuming other mind altering things.
Right.
The expenditure on alcohol for younger generations has gone down dramatically. So that's progress.
Yes.
You are the first in our community with this space. You're role modeling for other people to embolden themselves. We even talked about it at the studio, like having an alcohol-free party and everybody
Yeah.
dancing. Never happened because of time. Talk to me about Highland Farms, what your hopes are for that, what you think that would look like in 5 years. You said you've done different events,
Yeah.
hoping to do weddings, pulling in people once a month. Do you have a bonfire?
I also, so we do have this event space, but I also created, and that would be just around Christmas of 2023,
Yeah.
Sober Curious Shoe Swap Facebook group for people in the shoe swap. So this is another part of this. It's actually separate from Highland Meadows Farm, but it is, we will have events at the event space, but right now they're in my backyard because the space isn't set up during winter. So
Yeah.
we have a once a month gathering. So we do a bonfire. People bring snacks to share. There's a tea, bubbly, coffee. We hang out in the afternoon so people can get home before dinner. We have a nice community time together. And everyone is invited. Our next, actually, I just made the next bonfire. It's going to be on Saturday, April 12th from 1 till 4 at Highland Meadows Farm in Silver Creek, 15 minutes south of Salmon Arm. It's a great time to meet new people. You never know who's going to come. Sometimes it's the first time people show up and they're like,
I need to come
on Facebook. You need to come. It's just a great group. It's an alcohol-free gathering. It's a safe place. And people say to me that have joined the group, I'm not ready to come to an in-person gathering at this time, but I'm watching. I see the posts. It's encouraging me. Never met this person. I've had several people reach out and say that you've really helped me. I haven't come, but there are these gatherings, this movement, people that care in our community. It is helping me on my personal journey, even though I'm not ready to be social yet. That is encouraging for me to hear. I've had people come to the Sober Curious group. It's for people questioning their relationship with alcohol, people that have just decided to drink on weekends, people that are just cutting back for a month here and there, people that have completely quit drinking, and also for people that have never drank. I have people coming that have never drank alcohol in their life. And they say, I will not be around people that drink. Thank you for doing this, because this is an event that I know I'm safe at, because I will not encounter drunk people. And I'm just like, wow, this is bigger than I expected. Everyone is welcome at these events. Even alcoholics know they're not drinking here. It's a chance to socialize in an alcohol-free environment and see it is possible.
And not be triggered.
It's awesome. It's great. You totally should come. Once a month, we do a bonfire.
So you started this in December 2023, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay, from the inception of it, what would you say the numbers were? You already are very social. There's people everywhere along the spectrum of their relationship with alcohol. Every one of us has a unique relationship with alcohol. From the beginning, what kind of numbers were you getting and how has it grown? It's evolving because people can't come every week. Have you noticed the Facebook group growing over the last year? What does that look like for you?
We're at just over 250 members now, which is quite something here in the Shuswap. People that can meet, people that can come to a gathering. I just wanted to, there's lots of sober communities on Facebook, but this is just for people that live here and can meet in the Shuswap. It really has grown from 10 to up to 25 people. It's always around that 15 to 25 person range. I'd love to see more numbers, and I think it will grow for sure. We have the event space. We can hold 150 people. I don't have to see people in person to know I'm making a difference, because people are reaching out, even if we may never meet them, but it is helping them. And that's an important piece of it too. So if they can't come, that's fine.
And you not seeing people, even if it's already taken on a life of its own, deep down, when you come back to the purpose of why you started your journey to be alcohol free, is validated in your heart. You're creating change. And sometimes things take a long time to get off the ground, but this sounds like it's already off the ground and it's just going to get bigger. For me personally, and this is part of what my business partner and friend Scarlett in Austria, we're building this program, is more of a community. It is breath work, connection, and an 8-week program. But a lot of it is stem from that feeling. And I'm quite a social person, but I keep my circle tight because of Jasmine, the studio, and being busy. I've felt that missing feeling because the people I love that are still drinking, they don't talk to me about this, but I'm inspired when you jump into that space, when there's something there to fill that with the love, with the connection, with the vibration of people. You're creating that here. And that's what we're intending with our program. Create a safe space, women experiencing this shift and not knowing where they fit in. I think all of the people offering these things, bonfires to events to all the things to the programs online, is really building out a larger community of alcohol-free living and living on purpose with love and care. It's beautiful what you're doing.
Thank you. I feel the same about you and what you're doing. And it is so important that, like you say, when you stop drinking, it's like, what do I do? Where do I go? Things that were appealing before are not anymore. Offering something is social, safe, health-minded is amazing because it's aligned. with
Someone's
getting
not
healthy.
battling themselves the whole
No,
event. They're there and they're like, can be
exactly.
themselves and be free and not feel like they have to justify why they're not drinking
Yes.
because the container is matching what that person's vibration is.
I agree. It's so great. And I hope more people start doing these things.
They
My
will.
hope it's growing and that more event spaces say we're alcohol free. That's my hope. And when I say, oh, I'm Shuswap's first event space venue that's completely alcohol free, I said Shuswap's first. I hope there's many to come. I'm just paving the way for this in our community,
Yes.
but I hope that it just branches out and there's more event venues and more bars and more social gathering places that say we're alcohol free.
Yes, and it is inevitable. It is because
Yeah, I think so.
when you look at whatever you're like, however you're feeling on your journey, someone's felt something of that somewhere along the line, and maybe worse. So
Yeah.
maybe as much as we love the vision of becoming the best version of ourselves and putting our offerings out into the world, is us being great. It's about our
No.
community. It's about who we can make feel seen, who feels emboldened to say, I am going to do this. I want to feel part of something clear, clean, and
Yeah.
positive. So you've got that basis with the passing of your dear friend. Even for yourself, you spoke to God about it, send the right people. For me, I have a name for what I believe. The universe is vast, but there's that connection. This is your responsibility now
Yeah, I
to
agree.
do. What a magnificent time for you to be building this.
Yes, perfect timing. There was this movement already happening.
Jumped in.
And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. It was meant to be. It is going that way. And it's very exciting. I don't know where this is going to go,
You don't need
but
to.
I feel like it's going to naturally turn into what it's supposed to be and reach the people it's supposed to reach. Even just with friends and other people that are here with us in our home who have chosen to cut down or cut out alcohol in their life, like just shared this morning with a fellow that also lives in our house, and he said he told his business partner feels so much better not drinking just the odd social drink. He used to come home and drink every day. His business partner drinks a lot. He told him, no, I'm not coming out after work. I don't feel the need to drink every day. It's something. And he says it's even affecting him. So now he's thinking, oh, you're not drinking. Hey, like what? There's a ripple effect. I talk to
Yes.
this person and then they talk to that person. All of a sudden, people are questioning why they're drinking and making better choices. It's
And
exponential
it's
what's happening.
and it's role modeling. If you're living the life that you feel is aligned for you and
Yeah,
you speak organically and authentically about that, and
right.
there are people, there's still people in my life feel like I'm judging them, but I'm not. Am I
Oh,
worried about their alcohol
yeah,
consumption? Absolutely. But am I judging them? No. If somebody feels judged by you, it's because they're looking inward, they're judging themselves. When people let go of that and are open to it, it's you role modeling that, and it does have
right.
that cascading effect out into the world. And it doesn't mean it's not a bumpy path. You don't need to know the path to walk the path. When you show up each day this way, even having heartfelt conversations like you did this morning,
Yeah.
you the energy flows exactly where it's meant to. It's not clunky. It allows him to feel safe to reflect. He starts to live in that space, and his business partner was thinking about it. When you organically allow it, it becomes much more powerful.
It's neat to see this in people. It's like a miracle to hear these things each time. Yeah, it's just so exciting. I was going to say something, then I lost. I want people to have a taste of how good this feels. I'm not trying to pressure
Yes.
anyone. I don't force anything on anybody. I tell them what I'm doing if they're interested. But honestly, if people could just have a taste of
Yes.
what this feels like to not drink alcohol, it is like a gift that there's like no other. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's probably the best gift you can give yourself. It is amazing. I never have off days unless I'm sick. There's no bad days, no interrupted sleep in the middle of the night, no headache, no binge snacking. No good decisions are ever made when you're drinking. I just went to this event. I've had 2 drinks. I hope I don't get pulled over. That thought never crosses our mind
Oh, I love
anymore.
that.
It's such freedom. I wish I could give this gift to everyone.
From that perspective, like you said, that freedom, I liken it to when you work out. Sometimes I feel sad that people don't know what it feels
Yeah.
like to feel
Yes.
strong, not in a patronizing way,
No.
but I just want you to feel. I want you
Yes.
to feel this way when you make that one powerful decision. like everything changes.
Everything changes.
It changes every single thing in your life. So your
It does.
training, or if you meditate, or if you do breath work, or if you walk, or you hike, or you do art or learning, it sounds cliche, but it's the biggest gift by taking away something we never needed in the first place.
Exactly.
We were sold the lie.
We were sold the lie. The Canadian Centre on Substance Use and Addiction came out with new health data after a decade. And the old stats, you probably remember this. I always grew up with this information.
Yeah.
For women, 10 drinks a week is acceptable, 15 drinks a week for men. Okay, those were the stats
Crazy.
prior. So the new stats are that no amount of alcohol is safe. Actually,
Yes.
those are the new statistics, and that 1 to 2 drinks a week is low risk. So it's still a risk, but it's low risk. And a moderate risk, 5 drinks a week, and a high risk, heart disease, stroke, cancer, all these things. If you are drinking 5 drinks a week, your risk is just really increased. Seven is a high risk drinks a week. I know people that can drink 7 drinks in one night. So the new stats are out, the latest health data, no amount of alcohol is safe.
About a year ago, they had spoken about this study where for women, they did 3 tablespoons of wine, and for men, 3 tablespoons of beer. It's probably even worse for women because of 3 tablespoons of wine is going to have a higher alcohol content, but they spoke to the physiological processes negatively impacted by 3 tablespoons. No amount is safe, and it's responsible for 7 types of cancer. I know people who drink a bottle of wine a day.
Yeah.
More than anything, I worry about that. And that's not to say, think about COVID. I would get one of those Ernesto and Julio Gallo, the blush. And throughout the day, I was never drunk, but throughout the day, as I'm painting or whatever, I think about that volume. I'm not saying I'm inoculated from that, because it scares me to know the data. Every year, I'm clearing the slate a bit more. It's scientific fact now, like what we knew in the 80s about smoking. The data is in, and it's not going to change. In fact, I think that you could even make the big comment that alcohol has had a greater negative impact on society than smoking because of accidents, domestic abuse, and all the things. Knowing that is valuable, and it's scary. I had a friend who wasn't quite ready, and I said, I need to send you this Huberman podcast. It was probably 2 years ago now. She goes, don't send it to me yet because I'm not ready. I said, let me know when you are and I'll send it. She's working hard because it's very difficult to break that. And I'm not undermining that, because I feel a sense of fraud that I just decided and it was done.
Yeah.
But the gifts are still as big to me, not having it and reflecting on when I was drinking in a problematic way. It's a very large spectrum of experiences, but I think it's great we're having these conversations. People are feeling emboldened to speak openly. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe it's too hard right now. But that process can be the process, and inquiry is the beginning of it all.
And just knowing there are supports and other people going through the same thing, making these choices, I just feel like it's just so awesome that we are doing this and we're talking about it. The biggest thing is having these conversations for people to know they're not alone. There's you doing breath work, courses, the Sober Curious, gatherings, groups. You're not alone. There's other people doing this, and other people at the same stage that you are as well, like us, and then people that have had major problems with drinking. There's supports out there, and you don't have to struggle alone.
When we talk about our relationship, I feel like when I look back on traveling and getting blackout drunk in countries where I'm lucky I made it home from, I actually feel, and I had this epiphany, that maybe my struggle with giving up alcohol wasn't a struggle, but maybe me trying to build out and step myself up onto that next stage in life where I can impact people, because I have had this gift of surviving these things that I put myself in high risk. I feel a responsibility to that. Maybe that's the hard bit, losing friendships or that connection you used to feel when you drank 5 wines. Lose that. Our struggles are different from a human perspective. The struggle might be different in one part, but we have to find it. That is the human experience.
I agree.
Thank you so much, Maria. I'm going to mark that in my calendar. Can Jasmine come?
Oh, yes. Everyone's welcome. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. When I'm not at the studio or doing something like this, it's Jazzy and I.
Oh, of course. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to mark that in the calendar. We're going to share that information once this podcast drops. And please make sure to stay in touch. stuff shared on my Instagram about upcoming events. I'd be happy to do that.
Great. I'd appreciate that.
We'll include all the information about Highland Meadows so people can check that out. Maybe somebody in Europe is traveling through this way in 6 months
Yeah.
and they come and check you out.
Thank you so much for having me as a guest. I'm so excited you're doing this and so grateful. Every bit of positive, encouraging energy you put out there, I just feel like it really does make a difference. And you never know who's going to be listening to your future podcasts. And that's what that person needed to hear to make better choices. Very encouraging. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. The intention to speak openly and unabashedly about feeling your very best in a sober way, we can create that impact. You never know who's listening. Even with the online presence, there could be a single mama in Atlanta that somehow hears my voice and is like, that's the voice for me. And for many others, my voice might be annoying. But if it's out there, we're creating that change. And the same as people that aren't ready to come to the bonfire, but they will one day. They're hearing your voice and what you're saying. I'm appreciative you're in this space. I'm happy this belief about sobriety has brought us together. I appreciate you. I've got a question from my last guest that I like to ask at the end, and then I'll get you to pose a question. If money wasn't an issue and you had no restrictions, what would you be doing with your life? Yeah.
I am doing exactly what I want to do. I've made that choice a few years ago to create my event space and start working from home. And I am doing exactly what I want to be doing. And if money was no object, I would just probably be hiring more help to do what I'm doing so that I could operate just at a bigger level. But it's all going to get there, and I'm happy where things are at. Thank you for that question.
I knew deep down, even before, if I would have asked you this a year ago or before you left the economic development, you would have said the same thing. Because like you said, you don't know where the path is, but you're on it. I knew that was going to be your answer, which makes me very happy. And now we need a question from you for our next guest.
Yes, the question I have, and I think everybody should ask this, is if you could go back to your 10-year-old self and give one important piece of advice, what would that be?
Okay, what would yours be?
To just go for it. To not worry about pleasing everybody else, honestly. Just don't be afraid. Just go for it. Don't worry. Everything's going to work out. That's what I tell myself. I wish I told myself that a long time ago.
Yeah, I think that is the other part, that when you can go back and look at your child version of you, even if that's painful, that can be painful for a lot of people, that version still exists. So I think about my drinking version of myself, forgive her, or my 10-year-old self, and tell her to stop worrying about what people think. Those little things, like I had chipped teeth and a lisp, I didn't realize it until recently that I got teased about. I just pushed it down. If you go back to that version of yourself and give yourself that love, that helps, because she's still there. I think that's pretty magnificent.
Still there. Still there. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Maria. An absolute pleasure to be here with you. I look forward to seeing you on the farm. I'm going to bring Jazzy and sit around the fire.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Have a great day.